Hello and welcome to another coaching video, and in this one we have a silver Tryndamere jungle player who's trying to get to gold with a unique and interesting pick. Obviously we have Shyvana against us. The reason why he was so late to this red buff to begin is because we tried cheeky invades with deep wards, and typically it's why I tell you not to do these things, because you introduce variance. And when you're in lower elos, you don't want too much variance. You want good fundamentals, a good strategy that works for you, and to repeat the process and learn around that. See the main channel video. Guy who was stuck silver for 9 years is now platinum. And that video on the main channel will explain how we did it with my systems. But here we go. Let's talk about this player. I noticed quite a few games where, well, you won't be surprised to hear this, but coin flipping. Tryndamere's coin flip, obviously, with your extra crit that you get from the Fury, and obviously, the missing HP you get as well, the bonus AD you get from your missing HP. The champion inherently can institute some sort of coin flip result. However, there is a system that works with this champion that allows you to totally take over games. So instead of taking one of the losses where it was very clearly the enemy jungler had better pressure, he was taking too long to scale, a bit of bad macro, and all of a sudden we lose, right? Let's take a game here where he actually ends up winning and doing the most damage, and investigate the positive things he's doing, right? And the things that he's missing that he can kind of use to eliminate the coin flip of a 50-55% win rate and maybe make that a 60% plus win rate, which is an easy way to climb. So, full clearing from the jungle. Look at this. 309, 310. We do the wolves into the gromp, so good sequencing. That means if there's nothing in the bottom side here, we can obviously wait around, take some of this, ward this, reset, and do another full sequence. And the full clear here is not any better or worse than a Shyvana who went blue into gromp, obviously. So that's kind of the big metric here. Can you full clear the champion or clear at a reasonable speed such that you get at least a scuttle crab, right? Yes, good, cool. I mean, even Nocturne is absolutely juiced, and most people, I don't know how, but like 335, sometimes 340, but typically you can at least full clear and get to scuttle as a baseline. Now we look here, we have the Leona. Can we gank the sideline? Absolutely standard stuff. Yes, let's have a look. Can we go in Leona? Now, obviously, if you're like the Rakana had yesterday who refused to go in, don't waste your time. Go back to base. Obviously, if they move up to ward, you know it's warded. If she takes way too long, the wave is shoved up. The bottom lane here didn't move up. If you want help implementing this information into your own game, I have a free jungle improvement resource and a dedicated program where we have jungle video courses, jungle coaching VOD libraries, weekly coaching classes, Q&As, patch note rundowns, private high elo streams, as well as a private jungle Discord. And I know how to make junglers convert from low elo to gold to emerald to diamond to master plus. If you want to climb faster than anybody you know, jungle diff every game you play, head to virkayu.gg. And just to go back here, you can see while you're busy doing your stuff, right? They didn't move up to ward at all. And so that's the kind of thing you want to take into account. But if they back off like this, really safely, don't waste your time too much. The Shyvana obviously has better luck on the other side. The Garen is flashless, igniteless, and maybe maidenless, but Akali doesn't take it, which is probably a wise choice. This gromp is gromp. These krugs are going to be respawning, so we go back and do that. Now, before you continue on your full sequence, yes, even as Tryndamere, you can slide into a side lane and maybe look to do some damage and help your top laner, but again, in these cases, ideally, you're hoping they respect the enemy jungler, they don't feed it away, and that you can keep sequencing. I played a bit of Tryndamere jungle quite a bit in Season 4, Season 5, and you know what? Not much has changed. Champion is the champion. And our W is actually quite good for Gangster, because not only do you reduce their AD, better for AD lines, and it also slows, because typically they want to run away from the jungler. So when you get that W off and you get to give them some KFC, that's when you get a slow, 30% is pretty decent, Kindred's 40% now, ha 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 ha, and reduce AD, so you can actually have some decent fistings. But like any jungler without CC, it's about looking at the lane assessment. Is this a lane that can go in, allow me to actually do DPS? Can I stick to them? These are the good things. You want to try and save your E, the spin to win, for once their dashes and flashes are committed. So, I mean, again, you're looking for a level 6 spike, not perma farm, but that's your baseline. Shyvana, you're playing like a little bit Shyvana would, whatever that sentence was. She's level 5 here. We are already on the second quadrant. She's not going to second quadrant now. Waste of time ganking. Fool. And we had a better ganking assessment. This is also important, right? If the lane isn't gankable, you can have a flirt, you can have a look, you can have a sniff, but don't invest too much time that compromises your sequencing when you're level 6. macro-style jungler, and I think it's a very important concept. Now, obviously, we have Ghost in the kit to deal with these things. Here's where things get interesting, right? And as a Mundo jungle, you know, when he wasn't actually Turbo Astro useless, you end up in the situation a lot. This is an old Karthus thing from Season 9, even Season 10 as well. You full clear, you take a scuttle, maybe double scuttle, you know, gank, maybe not. Do a second rotation. Cool, I'm on the bottom side, here's a dragon. Enemy jungler sequencing to the top side. They're slow because they gank, so free dragon. Now, obviously, with this comes risk. Because, you know, they could rotate if they're not prio. So, if you have perma prio and you know the enemy jungler's top side, by all means, go ahead and do that dragon. If you don't have prio, and of course, see this, we save our E for after the flash is committed using our bonus 175% attack range, 175 attack range versus 125 that was buffed a few patches ago to help us in these ganks. That's a crucial thing as well, right? You can stick to targets a lot better. Now, here's where I think things get a little interesting because you know that she's topside, getting this RNG scuttle. Blessed and lucky that she is. She will then reset. Will she be able to finish that scuttle and get to us before we can complete this? Potentially. So what I would like to see from the Tryndamere here in these particular games to eliminate some coin flip is if you're not going to do this dragon, and invade the red because she showed topside for some reason, help your team push this out, gain some bonus experience, and then, yes, reset. Because we warded just in case, which I think is logical. Just because you can assume that Shyvana is going to go to that. Now, she's looking for itemization. This is normal, by the way, in Silver. Silver Bronze, you're going to see this all the time. They spend way too long in base. So, could we have done the dragon? In the elo? Yeah, hell yeah. Easily. Push the wave, go to the dragon. We'll just go to the dragon and let them know that you're doing it. Could you do it quickly and get out and survive? You know, on your champion, if you can or cannot. If you cannot, don't do it, right? As Mundo, I know I can easily gank this, do exactly this. I know she's doing this. I know she's going to reset. I know she's coming back down. But I can finish this by the time she arrives. Even now in the state, I know I can do that. So I will. Why? Because that allows me to reset and control the objective ping pong and cut into this beautiful Herald that we want to snack while she is trying to use her ult in the bottom side or in the mid lane. So you as Tryndamere, you can think the same way. However, as is the case with a lot of low elo people playing these kinds of picks, they get a little roped into the, you know, I got a base, I can't push the wave, or can't hit the turret. I think you should. Because here Zed shows up, he's been rotating over, you know it's warded, and here we see the first silver moment, I think. Zed has been roaming down, we saw the control will be placed by the Swain, we know that Shyvana is going to be in this area, but we are Tryndamere, so do we care? Let's have a look. We have E up in a while, we have Q to give ourselves a heal, Zed does have R, so we need to be careful. I'm still a little confused as to why he doesn't necessarily full-on engage on this. Vayne is in base. Here's the first silverness. There we go. Gonna go in on him. We're most likely dead there. Malzahar ults, but he's dead. Pop goes a weasel. Pop goes a weasel. So, this is why this player has a 52-55% win rate and not a 60% plus. We lost our leverage. Hey. Shiny object syndrome for the Shyvana. Scuttle crab. Yay! Scuttle crab, right? You gank bottom lane. You shove it, you take it, because you know you got that 20 to 30 seconds and you know you can do it. Now you're not worried too much about this dragon because it's down. Go back to base. You do this. You know she's down here, right? But now you know that this dragon isn't up. She's going to start to feel pressure. Getting at the dragon, trying to gank the bot lane. I am 0-0-0. I need to do something. She will force her ult, guaranteed. And when she does, that's when you can, you know, maybe do this. If Zed goes down, then you can do this. Connect gank top lane. You can cut your full sequence into a counter jungle, Herald, top lane, or mid lane gank. You stop your focus down here and ensure you focus the top side because that dragon was taken. Again, if you can't take it, and you're playing the Tryndamere here, I'm okay giving up, especially next patch with the nerf dragons, giving this up. Especially if the Zed is showcasing himself down a lot and it's warded. Hey, boom, boom, you know Shyvana's in the area, can I kill her 1v1? If you know you can, boom, we can cut in here, take these camps, this, and fall back to this, right? Or, worst case, you just keep sequencing. Don't coin flip, just sequence. Do the full sequence, but now, we lost all tempo control, and those moments, I guarantee if you watch all his replays, or if he watches all his replays, you'll see from about 6 minutes to 10 minutes, there is a gap, there's a hole, there's an issue. Sometimes he'll come out ahead, sometimes he won't, and the game can be won and lost. Now, in this particular case, Malzahar is 1-3-0, Zed is very strong still, patch coming very, very shortly, nerfing the W, and we at least got the Hextech Dragon, but the Shyvana is, sorry, I knew where she was, and I just wanted to click on the icon on the minimap, but she was underneath the Garen at this particular stage, obviously because we're red side focused. 0-1-1 up in CS, and now we have to swap our sequencing to go the other direction. She's overcommitting here. She's going to go ahead and take our drugs, which of course we know and see. Do we want to cut her off? I like to cut off here if I can win. If I can't win, then I won't, because obviously Akali has that pressure and Garen's in base, and you don't want to overcommit without your ultimate. Obviously it is up again, but you know, that's kind of your decision to make if you want to willingly give up your Krugs or if you potentially want to do something about it. He now wards this again. See, I don't think we need to spend our time warding these epic monsters because we can kind of track it quite easily. Now, obviously, she's going to just start it up. See, we don't need to ward this to see this. She obviously has no ult because it was just you, so he's going to go ahead and smite the target, stick to the target. Now we don't have smite for the Herald. Should something develop, obviously at this particular stage, pay very close attention to whether Zed is either dead or Zed is in base. In this particular case, obviously he is dead, so we can full-on chase. Make sure we get that and get out, okay? If Zed is alive, if Zed is alive and he's pressuring here, don't go for this, yeah? Better to try and do something top lane maybe, normally. Does Akali try? No. Deep vision though. So, for me, whoopsie, pause button. For me, we've just lost control in a very simple way, right? In low elo, you don't need more than playing the game as a baseline and just popping up every now and then, get some air, play like a whale, play like a dolphin, you know? Ensure that you're getting the oxygen necessary to survive underwater for a little bit, but don't overcommit unnecessarily. Because it's going to take you energy to keep doing that. And here, look, the Zed's coming on down, the Swain's coming on down, the Misfortune's coming on down. These things you cannot influence. You cannot control these things. But we can control taking the dragon, objective ping pong. We can control cutting in for counter jungling, cutting in for invades. So I think here, this sort of ridiculous fight is unnecessary. Vayne was in base. And obviously, the chase down was good, but going back in once we survived earlier is obviously what you want to avoid. I would really recommend a hardcore Herald shove with this champion. You definitely want this. You want plates, you want gold. You need to scale. And the thing about jungle is, right, you don't have always the same, you know, top lane and in mid lane you get this econ, bot lane you get this econ all the time flowing at you. And sure, you can lose trades and die and so on. But in jungle, if you fall behind too much with catch-up experience and lane experience, so it can be nerfed, right? And the whole enemy team being able to go into our jungle and steal our camps and so on. Nice collapse there. Akali doesn't respect it. We get a free kill. Cool. You know, you're going to lose the ability to scale. And by the time you do scale, 20 minutes plus, once that sort of experience removal from lanes catches up, the game, it's too late in the game. Your team will lost. So keep the pressure up. Try and get your gold up to, we're at 4.2. We'll see you after this. This will be the big thing. As I say, 6,000 at 14 is sort of the metric I like for 1v9 points. You can obviously have less because it depends on the champion and obviously the game state. But here we go. We got 4.2 on the Shyvana. We got 6.1 on the Tryndamere. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. 6.1k gold at 40 minutes. We're in the carry marker. You go look at his other games. The throw here, the death of the dragon. The chase here, potentially, the going in for the Zed, the missed opportunity, potentially can't even take this because, you know, the laners are collapsing. That will be the coin flip nature of his game from 6 to 10 minutes that causes him not to have 6,000 gold by 14. That's a good metric because obviously in itemization terms, that equals your mythic plus some boots plus a few components. So you're pretty strong, right? You're not at 2 items. If you're 2 items at this point, that's very good. But you can see from everybody else, we're in a good spot here. Gold amount, we are ahead of everybody, even over the Zed. Even over the Zed, which means we can destroy him. The champion is evil right now. Duskblade is just a stupid item. Rework it. Give it some sort of passive, but remove. Look, assassins are about positioning and skill. And a lot of assassin players have forgotten this because back in the day when we didn't have Duskblade, although it is an old item at this stage, it has been quite weak for periods of time. Swain uses his W. We'll catch up with that discussion in a second. We have a 3v2 in the river. Bot lane has Prior, so we can afford to go in here. We do have our ultimate available, so we can hold it. Beautiful. Well done, Leona. Well done, Leona. I know I'm overreacting a little bit, but come on. Like, when people in ELOs you don't expect plays to be made make plays, woo, I get excited for them. Because that's confidence, right? For the Leona, the rotation with the Vayne, the Tryndamere, everything right there, that's confidence for them. Let's go. They're hyped. They're excited. That's a game-winning play, right? And obviously now we have Used already our Herald here. We don't have ult, so be careful there. We get the experience. We're level 11. We can go ahead and snack this Krug camp, because if you've killed everybody, you got a free Krug camp. So there's no reason for you to lead at this stage. So twice now, he's in bottom lane, had a successful gank and fight, and just left. So here, take more. Take it. Push this. Hit this. Retract off. Full back. Reset. All the time, right? Earlier, we ganked this. Shoved this. And now, can I do Dragon? Can I not? This should be dead. This should be gone, and this should be dead, right? I've seen many cases where bottom lanes here, they get killed. Smurfed on. Destroyed. Eviscerated. Because we didn't take the Krugs and help shove. And when you make those mistakes, that's when you throw games. So obviously just keep that in mind, yeah? Keep that in mind. Anyway, to come back to it. Assassins are about skill. And Duskblade at the moment just takes away the skill of going in. End of story, right? Rengar has W, but it's an ability in his kit, right? Kha'Zix has multiple R channels plus E resets. It's an ability in his kit. We don't need all assassins to get those abilities plus Duskblade, right? It offsets the weakness of certain classes where they have other strengths, and it gives bonus strengths to classes or champions that don't need it. So that's why you're seeing Duskblade be built so much, but it needs to be reworked. It's always been a bit problematic, but yeah. They're buffing Ghostblade again to original level. Why? Ghostblade does not need to be buffed. They're buffing it to next patch where you get to revisit the 13.10 patch. Hopefully not. Anyway, 125 CS to 105 on the Shyvana. And you can see now we're 2 items. We're pretty good here. We are at 8.3. Scenarios' Master Yi metric was always like 9,000 gold at 40 minutes, which is obscene. But that's not always possible, right? That's real hard income gaining. That's a guy that knows how to play the game and get gold. Because gold per minute, experience per minute, that's all we need. There you go, Zed. Good job. Good job. Gee, Ghostblade on the misfortune. Ghostblade on the misfortune. Although I faced a Leandri's misfortune with Manamoon into AD. I just died. He pressed R and I died. I had no flash. I had no Zhonya's or stopwatch. I just stood there and was like, I guess this is it for me. He's taking things so quickly. Let's not stand still here. So we're standing still. Tryndamere. I know Tryndamere people, you don't need to think that much. It's Tryndamere. You pick Tryndamere so you don't need to think. There's no reason to stand still. Unless he was figuring out like what the next thing to do is. But hey, this is not very overwhelming or underwhelming. It just is whelming. I am whelmed. Because full clear, scuttle, look for gank, yay, nay, okay, cool. Go resequence. If there's a gank you can rotate to, you do so, but you don't overcommit to it. Next, saying on your third sequence, don't feel the desperation to do something if you've had a successful gank after the second rotation, right? Second rotation, we get the gank off. Now you think, okay, ganks are done. I need to start pushing in a little bit. I need to start applying a little bit of pressure, okay, to the enemy jungler. Is it taking a camp? Is it shoving and hitting the turret? Is it taking a dragon? You need to start to move the map forward already at 6 minutes. And most people just don't do that. Woo, he flashed. We do have R, we do heal up with our Q. We spin to avoid the W. Herald is available. 612. And all of a sudden the Malzahar has 355 because that's what Malzahar does. I don't think they can complain. I mean, there's a Zed. There's a Zed who is you know, Zedding. Shyvana, in the meantime, if you guys go watch the main channel video that I just described at the beginning of this one. 9 years silver and now platinum. The champion we used for the first bulk of that climb was Shyvana. And I showcase how you can actually win not only this kind of game, but just in general, the buttons are all warped right games. Just how you can use Shyvana in these situations and in general situations that this player isn't doing, right? And Tryndamere obviously has a very similar way of playing. Like here, we got hit, we know they're coming, there's no reason to go for this, we're down 2 levels. You know, you have to give up this dragon. You have to give up the dragon, go do something else, push waves, get strong. She hasn't done that, so now she's behind. And the Tryndamere, honestly, aside from that little hiccup, which I would hypothesize is the biggest issue, really doing good stuff. Woo! There we go. Oh, Akali obviously shows up and kills us, but, you know, 922, huge damage, huge items, huge crits. Boom! Garen says, I also do this. He doesn't have the Zeal item tech. Double Zeal tech. Also, Garen, very strong. If you want to play top lane and get diamond, and I mean this unironically, lock in Garen, learn a little bit about top lane as you go, and win. You got macro, you got rotations, you got 1v9, you got dive. He's just very, very strong at the moment, honestly. It just isn't talked about because it's Garen. But honestly, like with Tryndamere, it can be so mindless. You're just playing jungle. Like, In this particular case, are we talking about Tryndamere at all? No. All we're talking about is jungle. Because we don't have to think about Tryndamere, right? Okay, so I slow them with my W, and if they walk... I reduce their AOD with my W, and if they walk away from me, they're slowed. Okay, my E is a spin to win button. That's great. I do some damage with that. Q has a passive on it that, I do more damage the lower HP I get. And, hey, I get to heal myself, and my Fury, the more it stacks, I get more crit. That's it. You don't need to overthink the champion. The rest of it is, of course, auto-attacking. And R is, of course, the button. We all know R. It's the button that says, I will not die today. And now we're going to go ahead and do the Baron. And I think, in this particular game, I like this one because there were a few drawn-out games with coin flips, and you had to do some kind of macro, but everyone always assumes, hey, Tryndamere macro. And I agree with you, Tryndamere macro. For that, there's a video in the description that will help you with all kinds of mid-game and late-game macro. But I wanted to showcase the jungling of Tryndamere, because most people will assume, hey, you're going to int until 22 and then split push. Nope. Kraken, IE, go into a Blade of the Rune King if you want. We haven't done any split pushing. In fact, he probably did the least tower damage out of all Tryndameres in the world this game. Could have done way more. Should have done way more. That's a big takeaway from this. But here you go. Tryndamere jungle, can he get to gold? Keep an eye on him. I think he can.